Looks like we are live. Hello and welcome to anybody joining us. I am Alexi. I'm going to be emceeing the game watching here. You can follow my gaming endeavors online at Cloven Pine Games. This game is Magical Multiverse Tour Bite Marks Innistrad Howlpack Session 4 of 4. So this is the finale of a 4-part series we've been playing here on the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet is an online gaming group playing lots of cool indie tabletop role-playing games. You can find out more about the Gauntlet at gauntlet-rpg.com and learn about ways to sign up to play with us. The game we're playing, Bite Marks by Becky Annison and published by Black Armada Games. This is a game of werewolf pack dynamics. It is all about the messy emotional bonds of a group of werewolves, torn between their human side and their wolf side, and also between their pack and the demands that society might place on them and the demands that the traditions of their pack place on them. We've been having a lot of fun with it. We've been playing for these 4 sessions in the setting of Innistrad. Innistrad is a plane from the lore of Magic the Gathering, but you don't need to know about the Magic card game or about the lore behind it to enjoy this. I've been sprinkling in some references here and there, but mostly we're just enjoying getting to build our own canon of these werewolves here who are having drama and adventures on Innistrad, a gothic horror plane. So, a kind of medieval-like landscape. We're in a part of the plane with kind of mostly small isolated villages and the occasional crumbling sinister keep up in the mountains. But there are plenty of monsters about. There are vampires, there are zombies, there are spirits, and there are werewolves. And humankind is very suspicious of and sometimes violent towards these things that go bump in the night. So that's the basic setup. Let's meet our players. Real quick, I'm going to have people just introduce themselves as players. So if you don't mind taking a moment to tell us your name, your pronouns if you wish, online handle if you so desire, anything else that someone should know. I'll go first. I'm Alexi. I'm emceeing this series. Pronouns he, him, and you can follow all of my gaming endeavors online at Cloven Pine Games. So check out Cloven Pine Games on Twitter and on itch.io. Brandon, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Brandon. I'm a huge devotee of story games and have written LARPs and plays, but never a tabletop game. I'm having a delight with this one.
Very good. Good to have you, Brandon. Steven, you're up next.
Hey there, I'm Steven, he, him. You can find me at Steven Alligator, but there will not be much there. Mostly just the Gauntlet reading club I'm facilitating right now.
That is very cool, though. Harry, you're up next.
I'm Harry, he, him pronoun. Don't really have a internet presence, really, so nothing to show off there. Kind of semi-new to the Gauntlet and just having fun.
It's been great having you, Harry. Last but not least, Kyle, tell us about yourself.
Kyle, he, they.
Excellent. Good to have you. Let's go back around and meet our characters. I'm pulling up our character keeper for illustration here. Brandon, why don't you start off by telling us about Serafina?
My character is Serafina, she, who is the alpha of this pack. Not the largest, but the fiercest and the most strongest believer in principle, I think. Should I give some recent background?
Yeah. What did we last see Serafina in the midst of?
Mm-hmm. Well, after our cairn was desecrated by horrible undead things, we tracked them to the Grimm Keep, where through the actions of everyone in the pack, attacking zombies and climbing walls, and in my case, seeing through an illusion that guarded a secret staircase, we have confronted the culprit of all our woes, the master of Grimm Keep, in his sanctum sanctorum. And it turns out It is Georgi, who is the father of my cubs, a werewolf who was exiled from the pack some time ago for breaking traditions and my heart.
Dun dun dun. Yeah, and what devilry he has been up to in this lab is something the full extent of which is not totally clear yet. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Brandon. Stephen, tell us a little bit about Brooke and where we last saw them. And of course, since we sadly didn't have you last session, we'll end up picking up with you to get a bit more of a sense of what Brooke was up to during some of the PAX adventures previously.
Yeah, I am playing Brooke, they, them. I am the Gray Pelt, I believe is the name for the playbook of the pack. I am one of the older members of the pack, and I'm also the pack's midwife. I have a I love him, but they are a bit of a fuck up. Amsel, my apprentice.
Yeah.
They listen to Alice when they shouldn't. I assume Cawle probably gets them into trouble on regular occurrences as well. I wasn't here if any of that happened, but I'm just assuming. Even if it hasn't happened in play, it's happened before.
That sounds fair. Wonderful. And I guess you. I think we last saw you kind of in town, connecting with the town herbalist Lyra. Kind of just sort of checking in on the pack's interests in town. You got warnings about various pack mates' misbehavior, I believe. Primarily Cawle.
Wait, sorry, what was that?
Just saying, I think last we saw of Brooke, they were going around the town of Ramsgate, checking in with some of an ally of the pack named Lyra, the herbalist, who warned you about the misbehavior of
I just
Cawle.
like to imagine I went out the back door, and it's just immediately as I walk out the back door, Alice is just walking up to the front door with a wolf leg in her hands.
That's true. That is something we'll probably hear about from Alice in a moment, about that particular defiance of pack traditions. Very good. Anything else we should know about Brooke?
I think that's it. I think she loves. I think they love everyone, but they are also just equally. They love and are disappointed by everyone in equal measure.
Yep, you've got that parental heartbeat right there. Harry, tell us a little about your character Cawle.
Okay, so Cawle is the fixer. He kind of straddles the world between the humans and the werewolves. He/him pronouns, and he's a bit of a cur, cowardly at heart, I guess you could say. Last session he caught up with his love Claire, and she showed him a magical book and that she needed a place of power. So of course he told her about the werewolf cairn, and so later on when somebody disturbed it, he immediately thought it was Claire. So he hijacked, got out of there really quickly, went and found the Inquisitor, and kind of got the Inquisitor to chase him all the way to the cairn in order for us to try to beat and get there before the rest of the pack. And all it really led to was the pack jumping and killing the Inquisitor. And then it turns out Claire wasn't the one doing it, so Cawle kind of breathed a sigh of relief about that one. But then, the further stuff happened, which made it worse, which is finding out about Yorgi.
Yeah. So Cawle feeling relieved for now about players' schemes, but you did accompany the pack up to the Grimm Keep, and I believe most recently like jumped Yorgi and got immediately flung to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. You're a fixer, not a fighter. Good. Then let's turn to the last of these characters. Kyle, tell us a little about Alice, please.
Yes, I'm playing Alice, the Howl, the spiritual heart of the pack, and probably the one most opposed to its traditions. I broke the pack. Well, I encouraged another packmate to break the pack rule and reveal they were a werewolf to get the arm healed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did kind of charge at the head of the pack in fighting the Inquisitor, and with the rest of the pack, you've made your way up to the Grimm Keep and are now in this disturbing laboratory full of undead experiments. Fantastic. Anything else we should know about Alice, or is that good for now?
I think that's it.
All right. Then it's time for the start of session move, where our alpha rolls for the state of the pack. Serafina, I know there's a lot going on for you right now, a lot to take in, but if you don't mind rolling state of the pack, that will tell us a little about how the pack is handling the stresses it's under. Oh, you're muted, Brandon. Sorry.
Let me get some dice in there, and 10.
Nicely done. So every packmate gets -1 to disobey you. So if folks can note that down, being aware that they're at -1 to disobey Serafina for the moment. Serafina, how is it that that you are still like in control? How are you in control of the pack, even if you're kind of struggling for control over yourself or your emotions at this moment, right? Like, what's the
I think the signal was what I did last time, which is that even in the face of Georgi, I clove to our traditions. And specifically, I said, and he said, especially his exile. And I said, I had no choice in sending you away. The only choice would have been to do something worse.
And that carries weight.
So she re-emphasized in her remarks the fact that she considers herself duty bound to sustain the pack, and to put the pack's interests indeed again ahead of her own. And I think that's why the state of the pack is what it is.
Yeah, I love it. So we get sort of this pan right over this laboratory with these vats that are bubbling with strange things floating in them. We see Serafina standing stock still, taking in what's happening. We see Georgi has just like tossed Cawle to the side, right? Alice is there, Brenna is there, Amsel's there. They're all like poised, waiting, ready. And then I think we fade away.
Indeed, when Cawle is tossed aside, Serafina would have snarled.
Nice. Yeah. So with the sound of that snarl kind of filling the audio, we are going to fade away from the Grimm Keep to find out a little about Brooke. Brooke, I wonder, where is it that you have been sleeping or meditating or wrestling with nightmares? In the pack encampment or around the pack encampment within the walls of Ramsgate?
Oh, I imagine that maybe am I kind of like pacing at this very kind of slow with my walking stick pace through like the woods around Ramsgate, maybe at the foot of the mountains towards some, because this area, it's sort of within our pack territory more or less, right? Is
Yeah.
there maybe some sacred side of our pack that I am heading to?
So what we've established the cairn that's kind of central for the pack, which is where there was a battle last time as the pack
Mhm.
attacked. The pack found it desecrated and then ended up ambushing the Inquisitor when he arrived there. We could set up another site, right? Like some other like kind of point on whatever this nexus that centers on the cairn is, or you could be headed to the cairn itself. What do
No,
you
I might
think?
be headed to the cairn itself. We might as well just, reintroduce rather than create.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, uh, yeah, so you're like moving in human form, so not bounding with wolf-like speed through the forest here.
Yeah.
You become aware of a a single torch moving through the forest, not far from you. Sometimes obscured by trees, and then coming out on the other side of one. There's clearly someone else who seems to be moving a similar direction to you.
Um. Yeah. I just like kind of slam my walking stick down into the dirt a few times, rattle some of the bones hung on it. Now, all right, now, whoever you are, come right out because I am too old to deal with this cat and mouse bullshit.
I see. Just letting out a demand here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the torch stops moving. Right, the light from the fire holds where it is in the woods, not far away. And a nervous voice comes and says, "Sorry, who's there? I don't mean to disturb you." You probably recognize the voice of the mayor's daughter.
Right. I forget. No, yes,
Claire.
I have heard that Cawle uh that she and Cawle are a thing from the herbalist, right?
The herbalist told you should probably tell your friend Cawle to stop sniffing around the mayor's daughter, because nothing but trouble can come from that. What do you do?
Yeah, I think that there's a little bit of a grumbling of Brooke that I just deliver the babies. I don't want to get involved in their sex lives as well. Uh uh it's just Brooke. Your I'm part of your little lover boy's extended family, you might say.
Uh, the fire approaches hesitantly, and Claire steps into the clearing you're in. She says, "You were walking out here without any light of your own?"
I roll my eyes. If you've already if you and Cawle are doing what I expect you're doing, I suspect you probably know why.
She blushes.
Now,
And then
come
she
on. I'm on my way, and I don't want to be slowed down by this foolishness. But we'll keep talking. And I say that, but I'll keep talking. It's not that I'm just falling into silence. I just want to walk and talk. Is all.
I see. So you're continuing towards the cairn, even if she's walking with you.
I mean, in Brooke's mind, Cawle at this point has probably, if not mapped out all of our holy sites for her, because why wouldn't he? I feel Cawle has probably spilled a lot more than even he thinks he spilled to her.
All right, you feel like almost certainly the game's already up.
Yeah. Unless, of course, if you want to make me, if you want to say I need to make a disobey roll here.
I think you might, because I'm looking here, right? Our territory is sacred. Any violation must be repaid.
Yeah, that's fair.
Any human who knows our secret must be killed. It feels like you're at best skirting these. So I'd love for you to roll a disobey.
If Serafina finds out, what was that?
I'd love for you to roll a disobey just to see how how able Brooke is to set these things aside, right?
Yeah, if Serafina finds out, she can handle the murder. I'm just out on a walk.
Remember, you have a -1 to disobey.
Disobey the alpha.
Oh, right. You're primarily disobeying the tradition here. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Then roll with your guts.
Yeah, I don't think I'm not good at disobeying at all, actually.
You're the great pelt. That makes sense.
But that's a 10.
Wow.
I rolled an 11.
The curmudgeon won out over the traditions.
Okay, so here's what it says, right? You disobey and it empowers you. Take +1 forward. So note your +1 forward, and Brooke, tell me like why it feels good to just go with this and not attempt to expel this human from the center of the territory or anything like that.
It's just and I think I'm actually loudly explaining this to her. It's nice when you get to be a certain age. You get to stop caring about things. You see, like when I was young, I'm sure like Cawle, whenever he goes to see you, I'm thinking back, he's always brushing out his hair, bathing. He doesn't usually bathe when he isn't going to see you, but it's once you reach my age, you really get to stop caring about all that stuff, dear. That's the key to it. Stop caring.
She kind of chuckles in spite of herself, right? It seems like she's preoccupied by something, but she is nonetheless amused by what you're saying. She's like, I suppose I should be honored that Cawle has deigned to participate in hygiene for my sake. And then the forest opens up and you step into the larger clearing around.
Oh yeah, and I just start to go into embarrassing stories of like toddler Cawle to her. Like I'm just yeah.
Yeah. So as you are doing your best to tweak your packmate. The two of you, Claire and Brooke, arrive at the cairn, and you see the cairn itself stained with blood. The rough hole that was dug into the ground with the shovels that are discarded and lying nearby it. The place where a tree has fallen, and there's the corpse of a horse pinned underneath it. And perhaps most dramatically, the place where the dead body of Inquisitor Ferric is lying prostrate in front of one of these standing stones with wolf markings on it. Claire gasps.
I mean, Brooke was coming out here to work, but if there's a young person here, they will take a seat on the log and say, "Well, dear, you've buried a body before, haven't you?"
What? Brooke,
I mean,
what happened?
It seems that there was a bit of a to do here between this Inquisitor and the pack, but well, if you really are in on the know of these things, I'm sure you can handle just a simple burial, can't you? There's already a hole dug right there for you. And I am sitting down and trying to dominate her.
I see. So your plan is not to lift a finger, but
yeah,
to.
If there is a young person here who will bury this body for me, Brooke does not see why they should be doing it with my back.
Okay. Yeah. Let's have that dominate roll because Claire is looking hesitantly around. She's the mayor's daughter. She probably isn't the first person to be handed a shovel when something needs to be dug in the town, right? But I'd love for you to make a roll plus teeth to see how much bite this dominate has.
Yeah, and I'm just reminding myself here. Yeah, I have just the one. Cool. But I get +1 forward. See, it was all those embarrassing stories. Toddler stories. It just took her off guard to the "will you bury a body for me" ask.
I hate it when I'm walking with an elderly person in the woods and they're telling me all these stories and they're like, "Oh, by the way, will you bury this body for me?"
That's an 11.
Oh my goodness.
You see, I have a little bit more respect for Cawle now because, I was thinking, what is he doing getting involved with the mayor's daughter? But she's gonna bury this body for us, so I feel like there must be something to her.
She kind of she takes it all in. She nods. She gets to work, right? Attempting not to get too much blood on herself. She drags the Inquisitor's body to the newly dug hole and then starts using the shovels are not sized for her. They're sized for something bigger than a human, but she's gamely working to push some of the displaced dirt over this body. She's planted her torch nearby, so it's flickering light casts over the clearing. And she says, "This place, this is a site of great power and significance for people like you. Yes?"
You could say it's something like that. You'd probably have to ask that madcap Alice about that. Okay, I was just distracted by that message there. You probably have to ask that madcap Alice about whatever mystical stuff goes on here, but Yeah, it's a rather important place, and one that, at this point, Brooke gives a very glaring eye at her. One shouldn't be messing around with if one's not a part of the pack.
I have to do something to help my town. There are monsters out there. It's getting worse month by month. It's darker and darker. We need something to protect us, and the angels have failed. I have to work a spell. Do you understand? And this is the perfect place to do it.
Well, I should think something like that would be quite impermissible should you go on, and then I kind of add, should you go on being not a member of the pack. But, well, you might bring that up with Cawle, and I'll bring up, there are a few wolves out there that need killing, and I might bring up some thoughts about this with Serafina.
She hesitates, and then she says, "Do you mean if I became one of you, you would let me do this spell?"
I should think in that case it would be as much your place as it is ours.
She puts out a hand. Can we shake on it? Yeah, what do you do, Brooke?
Yeah, I think I take her hand, and then I think, belying the kind of frailty I've been exhibiting, I kind of pull her down into a headlock and say, "Now, dear, we don't shake on things as wolves. We wrestle." And then I let her go, and that's good enough there. And
yeah. So let me step back from the fiction for a moment. I feel like if you've given her the impression that you'll advocate for her becoming a werewolf and getting to do this spell, then she is content to return to the town.
Yep.
If you want to pick up the scent of your pack, it won't be very hard for you to do that and to follow them.
Yeah, I'll do that. I think that Brooke isn't necessarily looking for them, but I think when after finding the body here and getting their scent, that they'll definitely follow that scent now.
Okay. Then we'll say that when the time comes when you feel like it, you can make an entrance into the scene at the Grimm Keep. Does that work for you?
Sure.
Cool. So we'll cut back. We'll see a little what the pack is getting up to there, and then at a moment that feels dramatically appropriate to you, and seems like the time for Brooke to make their entrance, we can say that happens. Let's cut back to the Grimm Keep. Cawle got flung aside. Serafina, you were taking all this in. I want to ask you: Are you still processing? Still trying to understand what's going on, or are you ready to do or say something?
I say wait. You spoke of Lilith, on whose memory the ancestors have mercy. You took her bones?
He nods. He says, she was taken before her time, taken by humans.
You desecrated
We,
you desecrated our cairn.
we can bring her back, Serafina. You're not listening to me.
You
This place is
violated
a
the
gift.
sacred space of our ancestors.
I did what I had to do to bring our daughter
Serafina
home.
is starting to weep with fury.
Yeah.
And no one has seen her do this ever. She's not getting quiet the way she usually does when she gets angry.
Hmm.
She is I'm having trouble not going feral.
There is, let's see. Is there a move for that? I mean, there's. It sounds like. Are you? I guess the question is: are you giving into the wolf, or are you like?
She's
holding
trying to hold
yourself
it
back
She's
from
trying to
that?
hold it back, but she's trying to hold back, and it is and losing her grip.
So that sounds like the literal meaning of harness the wolf here, right? Are you cool with rolling
Okay.
that move? Like
Absolutely.
its benefits are getting to ask questions, but I feel like we can also play it as on a hit you aren't like really losing it, right?
Yes.
All right, so harness the wolf we decided is actually a roll with heart.
Yes.
Cool.
7.
All right, that's a hit. Barely. So you're like kind of by hanging on to humanity, right? By the barest of
She takes so Serafina takes a deep breath, and she does get very, very quiet for just a moment.
And you get to ask one of these harness the wolf questions.
And I know the answer to so many of these questions. Help me out a little bit, Alexi.
Yeah.
Because what I really want to know is how can I stop my ex-life mate, the father of my pups, in his mad scheme? And or what is a weak spot of his?
Sure.
Yeah, perhaps an emotional weak spot.
Yeah, I'd buy that as a take on who is the weakest here when it's kind of,
Yes.
Yeah, Georgi is mostly in control, but like, where is he weakest? Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. He's bluffing that he learned everything from the mad scientist here. He learned enough to do to try what he thinks he wants to do, but he doesn't understand everything in this laboratory, and his confidence is a front. You can smell the undercurrent of fear there, that he doesn't understand everything he might have unleashed. Does that work for you?
It is. Yeah. So then I follow up and I say, there's no way you could have mastered this foul human magic thoroughly enough to understand these abominations. Maybe you can use some of it. But you are taking a risk with the spirit of our dead daughter and with the ties of our ancestors and everything that you once professed to hold dear. And even if you are no longer part of the pack, I still always thought that if you were alive, you were still a werewolf. Stop what you are doing. And even knowing that he probably won't stop, I will try to dominate him.
Yeah, he's been a member of your pack. There's still a part of him you can try to work on. So make a roll plus teeth here.
$11. Well, even if he does what he does, he's going to pay for it.
Remind me exactly what the order was in this dominate here.
I called out the fact that he was breaking the traditions not only of our pack and threatening our pack, but even that of werewolfdom.
Right. The
And
kindred.
he had the kindred. He had turned his back on his very nature. And I said, you're not in control. You must stop this madness.
Yeah, I think we see him kind of put his hands heavily down on one of these workbenches. They're kind of part human, part wolf, right? Like he's in this in between form. That doesn't seem totally stable, and he kind of takes a deep breath. He says, maybe you're right, but I've come this far. I don't know how I can stop without trying. You left me with nothing outside this pack. I had to find some kind of a way forward. And he looks around. He says, Alice, you don't believe this, do you? That we have to remain caught in these traditions, that there's no hope once we've strayed out of line. So he's not doing anything further, but he's kind of casting out here. Does this work as kind of he's stopped in his tracks. He's
absolutely, yeah,
mulling this over now, yeah, and he's asking Alice, what do you do or say?
Yeah. I guess I just stay silent to try to figure out my next move.
Are you harnessing the wolf to ask questions here? Because that would be the way to try and assess something mechanically.
Sure, yeah.
Make a roll plus heart. Tell me how you're bringing your wolf senses and instincts to bear on this tense situation.
I guess I'm just keeping my ears peeled to see if, like, I don't know, if there's something else going on or something.
Absolutely. Yeah. Make a roll plus heart.
8.
Ask one of these questions from Harness the Wolf.
What is the biggest threat to the pack?
Ooh. Yeah, absolutely. So you hear the whirring of the mechanism, right? And you kind of isolate that from the other strange sounds of of bubbling and crackling from around this laboratory castle, right? And so you spot the large kind of metal coffin like place that seems to be powering up, right? Like there are basically it's set into one of the walls of this room, and then you see kind of like projecting out that wall, with there's like a a porthole window, so you can see it. You see the like metal rods that are being struck by lightning, right? That like are calling lightning down from the sky and clearly channeling it into this thing. And you know that this must be where Georgi's resurrection device is located, and clearly starting operations, right? Like even if he hasn't finalized whatever he wanted to do with it, the device itself does not want to wait.
Guys, I think there's something happening with the machinery.
Georgi whirls around. He says, "No, that wasn't. I didn't even finish preparing the." And he runs over to a board covered in levers and like grabs at a lever, and the lever like it crackles with electricity. He like pulls his hand away. Cawle, you found yourself you got flung through one of these vats, and so you're probably like shaking your fur off, and little like shards of glass and droplets of foul-smelling alchemical ichor are coming off of you. What do you do?
I'm gonna actually kind of play possum a bit. So I'm staying on the ground and keeping my one eye open, trying to keep an eye on things. But at the same time, I'm accessing my wolf scent, and I'm trying to pick up the scent of Lilith. If I could find where Lilith is.
Yeah, harnessing the wolf.
Okay, that's
Let's
heart.
Make a roll plus heart. Yeah.
Okay, so that's +1. Nope.
Okay, so I'll give you for free that the scent of Lilith. Serafina, what is that scent? What is the smell associated with Lilith?
Lilith loved lavender. She would twine it in her fur, and she liked to sprinkle it on her meat. And so she had her own. I always said she smelled of spring, but the dominant note was like a little bit like the lavender plant.
So there is that strain of lavender coming from this charging up resurrection device. So you know that Lilith's bones, and perhaps now more of her through the magic of this unholy necroalchemy, are within that metal coffin shaped container. But as you are picking up that scent, a hand reaches down and like grabs you by the fur of the scruff of your neck, right? Like lifts you up, and like Georgi looks over distracted. he's like, no, put him down. But the thing does not put you down, as you've been hoisted by one of these massive, cobbled together ghouls. This one just a huge brute, with like a hand big enough to wrap around your face, and no head at all, but a like kind of metal canister full of crackling electricity, kind of like set between its shoulders as it's like lifted you up.
Okay, Cawle is definitely yelping and trying to bite at whatever's holding him, but failing.
Beautiful. And with that, let's take a first break, and we'll pick up and see how things develop. We'll take till 10 past the hour, and then be back. All right. See you all in 10. Hey, how's everybody doing? I'll say I've done a little MC prep, thinking about the various problems that might exist here, but I'm also fine if the pack handles those problems handily, and then we get, just the pack working things out amongst themselves, deciding things about what the pack is doing going forward, right? Like it's okay if the external threats are to some extent resolved, and then we turn to pack dynamics, as part of this this finale. So, yeah, just to be clear about, I'm not going to be upset if it's like, oh, they beat all the threats I put out there. It's like, that's okay. There's plenty of threats just within this pack, and the secrets that they're keeping from each other. So, cool.
Steven, are you back?
Wait, good. And Stephen, remember when you decide it's a good time, you can tell me that Brooke has made their way to the Grimm Keep and is entering into this scene.
Okay.
Cool. But for now, yeah, we're going back to the situation we were in. Cawle lifted up off the ground by this hulking zombie. Serafina and Alice, you can see part of what's happening here, right? That Georgi isn't in control anymore, right? The controls of the laboratory are fighting back against him, and yeah, I think at the same moment, Rena looks to Serafina and says, "What do we do?" And
Stop that.
and Amsel looks to Alice and says, "What do we do?" But yeah, go ahead, Serafina.
Serafina says, that thing's got Cawle. We stop it.
Alice, what do you say?
Yeah, attack.
Yeah, Serafina says that as she is losing the power of speech. So the last part of it just comes out as a it becomes hoarse as she is uttering it. And the last part of it is almost lost in just a barking howl.
Yeah. Cool. So everyone's attacking the thing that's holding Cawle here. Who's going in? Like, is this something where one of you is charging in first, or are you letting the other pack mates take the first swings at it?
I'll go first.
Are you harnessing the wolf here?
Absolutely.
Yeah, or rather, sorry, giving in to the wolf.
Giving in to the wolf, yes.
Yeah, because I think you returned to human form during this negotiation, but we're wolfing out now. Go ahead and roll plus feral.
Yes, I give in a little too far.
Oh no.
Yes. So Serafina, right? Sarah, the pent up fury that Serafina has had boils over at the direct threat to her mate, in addition to all of these things, and she wolfs out with with all intelligence for the moment gone.
Yeah, absolutely. The wolf takes over. So I think we see like Serafina in wolf form, but like kind of foaming at the mouth a little, right? Like it's clear there's it's clear that the human or the the kind of sentient being that is Serafina is very much in the back seat as the the animal brain is driving, and so Wolf Serafina attacks, but with no tactic, right? Like just a charge, that that kind of causes the creature to stumble back, right? Like surprised by the ferocity, but then it is not too hard for it to like pummel Serafina, striking her, side swiping her, right? Like she's not doing anything strategic. She's not covering her flanks. She gets kind of like bashed across the room, and lands near that metal coffin that we saw before. Alice, what do you do?
I attack the monster thing.
And you were already in wolf form, correct? Like I don't think you reverted to human form at any point.
Sure.
I was just trying to remember it as. I mean, to be honest, I am cool with you giving into the wolf if you so desire, because of course it could just mean you're like going deeper into the wolf and risking the consequences.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Go ahead and roll with Feral.
I got a 2.
Oh no. Oh no. So it says MC takes over your character for the next scene. So we'll be clear, like when the scene's over, when Serafina and Alice are back to themselves, right? But Alice, tell me just a little about what it looks like when Alice like gives up too much control, as she taps into the wolf here. Like she's been a very balanced character. Give me a sense of what losing balance looks like?
Probably just like a berserk charge at the monster, like not trying to dodge or anything, just attack.
Yeah, absolutely. So berserk Alice is harrying this thing, battering it. I think it's enough to make it drop Cawle, but the creature seems canny, right? Cannier than half the pack at this point. And so Cawle, as you find yourself hitting the floor, you see the creature kind of like duck and like lift Alice up and have her use her own momentum to like fling herself into another one of these vats, and there's shattering glass, and then like yelping and whimpering as the like out of control Alice is now suddenly like dog paddling in foul alchemical ichors, and the creature like reaches a hand towards the vat that Alice is in, and electricity starts sparking around its hand. Cawle, what do you do?
Well, I guess we'll see if we can all lose control. He's definitely giving in to the wolf to see if he can summon a little bit of courage.
Make a roll plus Feral, my friend.
Yep. So that's just a straight 2d6, and a 9.
So you get to choose one from the give to the wolf.
Let's see here. Okay. What's our pack pool at?
5, if I recall correctly.
I'm gonna just spend 2 to the pack pool to see if we can.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Pushing it up to a nice even 7 here. Or go ahead and push it up to 7.
I gotta find it again.
In the pack tab, there is a column of
Success is
checkboxes.
7. Okay, well, it's getting closer.
Yeah, so you give into the wolf, and in so doing, you feel some of the power of the pack surging around. Like even if the alpha has lost control, even if the howl is too far gone, the pack is here, and the pack is fighting for you, and now you're fighting for the pack. Cawle, what do you do? And give us a little of like the like is the visual here that you've just like done something to like put your game face on in your wolf form?
I think once he hits the ground, and after Alice has been hit into the vat or such, Cawle's hair stands up like way higher than you've ever seen him. With hair is just fully puffed out now, so he doesn't look quite as scraggly as he usually does. And his growls just fill the room. And then what he starts doing is he's just starting to nip at this monster's feet and run around it in and out, trying to get, I guess, focus on him and just run him in circles or whatever, or something like that. He's not actually doing much attack wise, but he's just making himself a complete nuisance.
Okay, nice. This is kind of acting on instinct then to try and kind of lead the thing on a chase, right? Rather than you're not directly mauling it.
Yeah.
Okay, make a feral roll.
Heart.
Act on instinct.
Yep.
No, it's feral.
That one's
Okay.
feral.
That's
Okay.
Okay. So it's gonna be the same roll.
Oh, it doesn't see.
And nope.
What did you get there?
5.
And the rest of our. So I guess the question is, Brooke, do you want to make an appearance here and spend from the pack pool to help, or do you want to wait and see what the new consequences are when?
No, I guess I was thinking that I guess it would be not great if everybody was torn in half. I think at that point that like I think probably like just as like the creature has grabbed you, I think you hear like a howling from just beyond like one of the. I imagine that like there are these big kind of Gothic. Well, like Victorian Gothic windows, maybe not actual Gothic windows, because they would not have big vaulted windows. Like there's this howling, and like the glass breaks in as Brooke jumps in, and I think it's that like just as that it gives you a moment to like keep at least a little bit in control of this distraction, as Brooke makes their own distraction on entry.
Nice. Do you want to spend 2 from the pack pool to push Cawle's roll up to a 7? Good thing we started adding to the pack pool there. So that pushes that roll to a 7, and we get an act on instinct. Cool. You do it, but the MC describes how the situation is not under your control. So Cawle, you narrowly evade just being crushed by the monster's foot, right? But now you're darting around it, nipping at its heels. You keep it from electrocuting Alice, right? And so it's instead just focused on you. Rena comes charging in and starts pummeling the thing. Amsel leaps up and is like gnawing on the canister full of electricity that it has in place of a head. And like Amsel's fur is starting to stand on end, right? And you can see little like sparks playing over their skin. So the creature is harried, right? The creature is not doing great, but you worry that Amsel will hurt themselves seriously if they bite, their teeth penetrate this capsule or whatever. So that's the that's the way the situation's not fully under your control. Brooke, you've made an entrance, smashing through a window, in wolf form. I take it.
Yeah, I'm in wolf form.
Do you want to give in to the wolf? You can, of course, simply shift to wolf form without.
No, I'm gonna give in to the wolf. I think that there is the Brooke snarling and like arcing of the hackle, and we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a 12.
Oh man. Well, I guess some of that experience comes to bear here. You're going to get to choose 2 from the give into the wolf benefits, as you show the youngsters how it's done.
Everybody's mistake was leaving not taking Brooke with you.
What do you pick for your benefits here?
Let's see. Basic moves. Give into the wolf. I'm probably going to shift my stats around, and I'm going to add 2-pack back into the pool to get us back up there.
Nice. So we see. So I think the previous time we saw Brooke transform, it was clear that the transformation was painful to them, right? Like that they are an older werewolf and not as spry as they once were. How do we see that Brooke is animated by a kind of like new vigor in this moment here?
I don't know if it's animated by new vigor. I think it's almost clear, but like, well, no, I didn't mark it. It wouldn't make it. Yeah, I think it's almost clear that like Brooke is like pushing themselves further than is wise. Like, I think there are almost parts of like their skin where like the wolf is tearing apart again and the human is showing through. Like this is like a really unstable transformation at this point for Brooke.
Okay.
And I think that's what's like kind of empowering them here. It's just that like it's not like it's just because it is so unstable that they're not controlling it.
Yeah. Okay. What do you do?
I mean, this thing still has a neck to tear out, right?
Not
okay.
I'm
not sure like what it looks like in my head, because we kind of came in the middle of the fight.
Oh, totally. Let me give you a picture of the creature I'm picturing here. The key thing is, rather than a head, it has this sort of reservoir of magic electricity. I am going to put that onto the screen. I am sharing. Yeah, here's the sort of thing I'm picturing.
Okay. So you said there's like a thing on its back that's like a reservoir of electricity?
Kind of that spot right there, right? Like where its head should be, between its shoulders, there's this metal reservoir, and there's strange blue electricity within it and now sparking around it as Amsel is biting at the thing.
I mean, I know this is a bad idea, but is there like any like tubes or wiring that I could rip out with my teeth? And I'm willing to just take the harm to do that, because I think this is probably going to cause me harm.
Cool. Yeah. Just charging in, and like anywhere where there's some bit of kind of Magitech tubing, you're gonna start tearing it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm cool with I think I want you to roll mauling for it, but we'll say that you just mark one harm right at the start because of how stupid an idea this is.
Yeah. It's fair.
Go ahead, roll with teeth
That is a 7.
to maul. Nice. You choose one from the mauling list here.
Yeah, I'm gonna do ideal +1 harm.
That'll do it, right? Like you've hit a weak spot. So Brooke, I think what we see is while the the rest of the pack has been harrying the monster, you leap and manage to sink your teeth onto like exactly the right the right tube, right, that kind of balances the spirit electricity of this thing, and by ripping that out, you send shocks through your whole system, right? Like you for a moment, Brooke is electrified, and we see their skeleton, but the creature itself like stumbles and falls, and like from somewhere, it's unclear where, it has no mouth, a like huge like moon rings out. You bring the creature down. It does fall a little on top of you, so
That's fair.
Take one more harm and roll the harm move. The harm move, which we introduced in the last session, I think, is down at the very bottom of the basic moves. Something you roll plus guts to see if to see a little bit about the fallout of harm you've taken.
Okay. That's a 10.
Ooh. Your choice. Either nothing happens from this, or you take one less harm, and I choose one thing from the 7 to 9 list, which is our list of drawbacks. So if you choose nothing happens, it'll mean that you take the one harm, but you're otherwise unimpeded by what's going on. If you take the -1 harm, you'll manage not to take the bonus harm.
I'll just take the harm.
Take the okay, cool, yeah. So you take the harm, but are otherwise unaffected, right? So we'll say that like it falls on you, but you twist away just in time, and are only a little hurt by its fall. Actually, how much harm does that put you at? Just 2 harm overall?
Yeah.
Kind of on par with where everybody else is at from the wares of this battle. Alice, you are swimming in this strange alchemical solution, and I think while your body is there, your kind of mind or spirit are like sort of aware of what you're doing, but at a slight distance. But you hear a sort of mournful howl with your spiritual senses, a howl you recognize as Lilith's from when that young pack member was alive. I'm curious if you do anything in this sort of this sort of hazy spiritual place you're in. Your body is doing what it's doing, but I wonder if you would attempt anything in this sort of astral realm.
I guess I'll try to contact Lilith.
Yeah, what do you say?
Hello, can you hear me?
Alice, is that you?
Yes.
What's happening? I was at rest. I was peaceful, and then everything changed.
Someone brought your body back to life.
How? What? No, I don't have a good feeling about this.
Me neither. I'll try to get you back to rest.
Thank you. Right, and it's kind of voice kind of fading out as you're starting to regain control. Serafina, I'll say that I'll remind us that you were knocked across the laboratory to over near this coffin, and I think like as the monster falls and people kind of start turning around, taking what's going on, they take in that Serafina is howling, a beautiful musical howl, but she is next to this coffin and letting out this howl, and somehow the howl seems almost in time with the electrical pulses that are running through this. And Yorgi is staring at what's going on, and he's kind of under his breath, but it carries in this strange echoey laboratory. He's saying, I knew you'd come round. I knew you would help. Cawle, I want to check if there's anything you want to do. In the monster has fallen. Brooke arrived just in time, but strange things are afoot. At the other end of the lab, there's a whole situation here. What do you do?
Obviously, I think I'm going to help Brooke. I don't want them to get killed by this monstrous beast, so I guess I'm just going to join in the mauling of this unnatural thing.
Yeah, I mean it's down and not moving anymore, so you can get a few bites in there for good measure, but it doesn't seem to be a threat anymore.
So it's not a threat. Okay, so okay. Well then, I guess he'll streak back towards Yorgi as he's a little bit dazed, and I'm jumping and going for his throat again then, and try and maul him.
Wow. Okay. So just attacking Yorgi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make a teeth roll for me to see if that you're blindsiding him.
Yeah.
So let's see how that works out for you.
6 + 1, 9.
Pick one from the mauling list there.
Okay. Can I just knock him out? It says you knock someone out.
Yeah, he's distracted and you're catching him off guard. So I will say you get to knock him out. I think he'll he'll have his wits about him enough to like claw at you as he goes down. But if you knock him out, as opposed to reducing harm or anything like that, we can say that he goes sprawling and is unconscious.
Okay. And do I take harm from it?
2 harm.
2 harm. Right.
But I'm not gonna make you
stable.
He's out. Right. Like he stumbles back, falls against this this panel, right, with different switches and stuff, and there's some electricity that springs from the panel, and then he slumps down to be kind of sitting unconscious against the wall below it.
I'm gonna say that Cawle is right on top of him at this point, and it looks like he might be going for the kill, but he hasn't gone yet. Just to set it up.
Okay, that's where Cawle is. Where Cawle is. Then I think with both overt threats within the room out, we're gonna say that the scene has wrapped up. So that will mean Alice and Serafina regain control of themselves, and will also mean we check in on heartbeats. Did anybody hit one of their heartbeats? Serafina, any you want to highlight?
Both. I mean, I call that both protective and hard.
Sure. I think. Mark one of your tracks for that. Brooke, any of your heartbeats that played into this previous scene?
Yeah, I mean, I think ending and steady probably.
Absolutely. Mark an appropriate track, probably wolf, because we got to see you turning up as a wolf. Cawle, Any of your heartbeats here playing out here?
I think it's going to be responsible and him actually showing up to the fight.
Yeah. And you took the responsible approach to dealing with the thing too, right? It's like, yeah, I'll distract it, let the heavier hitters get their blows in.
So that's 1 to the wolf path.
Alice, any heartbeats to highlight?
I don't think so.
All right. I'll say you come to, right? Like you are now no longer are you kind of this like sort of consciousness floating out there. You like are sputtering and realizing that you've been doggy paddling inside of this broken glass vat that the creature flung you into. What do you do?
I get out and join up with the rest of the pack.
Sure, yeah. Kind of climb your way out. Strange, kind of orangish droplets of the alchemic ichor still like clinging to your fur. You see the monster felled. You see Cawle seemingly like ready to execute Georgi, and you see Serafina lost to the world, howling in time with the electricity sparking over the coffin at the end of the room. What do you do?
I mean, it seems like the situation is in hand, if I understand.
Yeah. The question is, do you say anything to Cawle or do anything to to influence whether or not he kills Georgi right here, right now? Do you try to like shake Serafina awake? Right? Like, are you because you heard from Lilith's spirit, right? The sense that she was at peace and didn't want to be brought back, and the howling Serafina is doing is contributing to what the machine's doing, right? Like the howling is guiding her spirit into the body inside of that coffin.
Yeah, I'm not going to stop her.
Not going to stop her. Brooke is here, looking kind of strangely kind of like mixed between human and wolf form because they were pushing the transformation to the limits. So Alice, you're kind of letting things play out rather than intervening in kind of any of the scenes here.
That's right.
Cool. Amsel runs over towards Cawle, and they say, "Do it, take him out."
Yeah, he's definitely reaching down with his bite unless anybody else has an objection. I'll take his throat out.
Serafina, I think
Yes.
consciousness is starting to come back to you at this point. And I guess my question is, you become aware that you are by this coffin, smelling this hint of lavender within its metal confines, and when your instincts took over, they brought you to howl here. Are you howling more? Are you're like kind of in your peripheral? You catch sight of Cawle, perched threateningly on Georgi. What do you do?
I fight my way back to sentience.
Yeah.
And I get out, and it comes out in a croak, because it's spoken almost before I have the control to speak it.
Yeah.
Stop.
Is that an order?
That's an order.
Is that something you want to roll as a dominate, or just let it be an order and see how Cawle responds?
I'll roll dominate.
Okay. Roll with teeth. in control of the situation. PCs cannot disobey your current order, but forcing them to do it comes at a cost. They will take a +1 tie on you because some decisions come back to bite. So Cawle, Serafina's voice carries weight, even like croaked out as she is fighting for control of herself here. You are not going to be able to do this, but you take a tie on Serafina. Tell me, help me paint that picture. What does it look like as the Alpha's order pulls you back from the very brink here?
Okay, just as his teeth were starting to close around his Yorgi's throat is when the stop command comes, and then you see the hair that was like raised up in hackles and such smooths down again, and even though he's growling, Cawle releases the bite, but he doesn't step back very far, so that he's still there if he has to do it, but he doesn't bite. It looks like he's taking a lot of self-control, which is, interesting for Cawle, but he's listening.
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
Yeah.
I know it says we cannot disobey, but could we make a challenge here?
You could. If you wanted to push back against an order like this, I would entertain a character making a challenge.
Okay.
Well, yeah. You might want to say something first.
I mean, well,
yeah, because all Serafina has done is stop him from acting immediately. She hasn't said anything else.
Okay, well, in that case, Brooke starts shifting out as well, and you hear the growling, "We don't have time for this sentimentality, Serafina. Kill him now, Cawle." And I am making a challenge because I am attempting to dominate a packmate into disobeying a direct order of the Alphas.
And you're basically saying there's no time to wait. We have to get rid of Georgi right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's okay with you, because I might be misunderstanding what Serafina's intent here is.
A challenge can stem from a misunderstanding, especially when emotions are running high. Brenna, are you up to see that as a roll? Because of course,
absolutely. I think it's got a -1 because it is going directly against a command by the Alpha. And I rolled State of the Pack.
Let me just double check.
I think
the
it's
wording of state.
Disobey.
Well, you're telling someone else to disobey does not have the same penalty as disobeying yourself.
I'm not disobeying though. I am actually making a challenge.
Yeah.
Well,
so
I understand that, but it is not telling someone kill him the same as killing him, trying to kill him yourself in terms of going against the Alpha's order.
I was gonna say if I was just disobeying you, yes, but I'm not.
But having somebody else disobey me, to me, is the same weight.
Yeah,
right?
but here,
if I have one of my henchmen shoot you, it's as if I shot you myself.
Yeah,
anyway.
But here, getting Cawle to disobey you is actually secondary to the role that's being made. What the role that's being made is a challenge for Alpha.
Yeah. Okay, so I think what we're hung up on is disobey in the broad sense versus disobey the specific basic move, and I think the -1 applies to the specific basic move.
Fine.
Now, of course, Brooke has -1 guts, so Brooke, you are rolling at -1 for make a challenge anyway.
Yeah. So we'll see.
We'll see what happens as the Gray Pelt steps forward and
that's
says,
a 5.
"We don't have time for this." Oh boy.
Yep.
So let's look at the miss result here. On a 0 to 6, you fail and take a permanent scar and -1 to a stat, your choice. The only question is, or rather, no, there's definitely no way to spend pack pool on this because you can only spend pack pool in support of the Alpha's orders or the traditions of the pack.
Okay, I'm going to throw this out here, Serafina. Do you want to kill me? Because I'd be fine with that.
Serafina goes up to you. Serafina lunges up to you, stops on the balls of her feet, and says, "Do you deserve to die for that?"
I'm dying tonight already anyway. And then I cough up more blood.
And I kill her.
Yep. And I think that as you kill me, I think I whisper into the ear, you're going to want to turn. And I forget the name, but I name Cawle's love interest.
Claire.
Yeah, Claire.
Oh man.
And Serafina
She's smarter
actually,
than Cawle.
Serafina actually says, "As always, I listen to your wisdom."
Yep.
To the dying Brooke.
Yep. And then I die.
It was her time.
Mm-hmm.
She just made it starker.
Yeah. So Brooke is dead. Their body hits the floor of the laboratory. Serafina is standing there, bloody and in control. I am going to call our second break here, so we can pick up and see what becomes of this werewolf pack. Let's take 10 and be back, at 2 past the hour. And Stephen, I'd love for you to stick around if you can, because of course we'll be doing feedback at the end and getting a sense of how this all worked for folks. So if you're all right remaining,
Sure.
Despite being dead, I'll also fling you paint the scene questions and things like that.
Cool.
All right. Take 10, be back at 2 past the hour. All right. Hey, everybody. As you may have seen in the chat, Kyle had to make use of the open door to help a real life friend. So that's our sign up for me to for us to do what we would like with Alice. So I'm thinking that we'll aim to get to epilogues within 15 20 minutes here, right? See a little bit more play out, and then get to epilogues that we share for characters, and then wrap up to do some some stars and wishes and debrief after this dramatic session. Will that work for folks? Stephen, it's possible I'll ask you occasionally to weigh in on what NPC packmates are doing, because now there's Rena, Ansel, and Alice as NPC packmates. Does that work for you as a role from beyond the grave here? Cool. Then I'll say the first thing we see is outside the Grimm Keep. The night seems finally to be ending. A gray, slow sunrise is creeping up. Nothing like the strong daylight that humans would hope for, but at least the terrors of the night cannot be as powerful with the sun starting to crest, or so the humans tell themselves. A group of hunters from Ramsgate has set out. They're making their way through the mountainside, heading towards the Grimm Keep as planned. Stephen, tell me kind of what we see that tells us these humans have found some way to rally their spirits despite the mysterious disappearance of the Inquisitor that was supposed to lead them.
And they are actually coming to. So where are they headed? I missed that.
Yeah, the hunters are coming up from the human village of Ramsgate towards the Grimm Keep, because they had resolved to go. In fact, Serafina had told them to gather their courage and gather their weapons and go to confront whatever monsters lurk at that place.
I think you hear them chanting. I don't know if it would be more appropriate that it's a prayer or like a work song, but which do you think would be more appropriate, Alexi?
It could be a mix of both, right? Like, could be a work song that occasionally invokes the various angels that watch over humans, and there's some confusion when they get to the names of angels that have gone mad or been killed, and people can't quite tell whether they should keep invoking those
everybody
angels
just
or not.
starts mumbling those words in the kind of I'm in church but don't know the words type thing.
But they they're saying Sigarda, guide our spears, Avacyn, guard our steps. But not everybody says Avacyn, because some people remember Avacyn going mad and turning against humanity, right? And so it's things like that, absolutely. And they're trudging, but they are trudging with some fervor, right? Some feeling that it's do or die, and they need to confront whatever lurks here in the Grimm Keep for the sake of their village. Meanwhile, in the Grimm Keep, the body of the Grey Belt, Brooke, has hit the floor. There's a moment of stillness, and then Amsel screams and howls and charges towards Serafina, with Rena barely holding them back. Cawle, I want to check in on your reaction to all this. Brooke stepped up, made a challenge, and got lethally put down. Okay.
Cawle's gonna slightly shift form to the werewolf hybrid one, so he has a mouth, so he can speak. And he just starts growling and saying, "No, no, 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 mother, give me a scar or death. I do not mind which. But Yorgi should have been dead already. That is your misstep."
Calm yourself.
No.
Calm yourself. think for a moment before you speak and listen for a moment. You'll do that.
Will you
And
call?
He's
Serafina's-
growling and he's starting to step towards Serafina.
Are you making a challenge, Cawle?
That's what it's working up to, yes.
Serafina does
ah.
Serafina for the moment, since the challenge hasn't been made yet.
Call, are you up to see what Serafina does next before like, pressing the red button?
Yeah,
to
I
make
just
a
want
challenge?
to see what she's gonna try to say to counter.
Serafina
Okay,
from a, she actually doesn't say anything more to you. She walks over to Georgi and she speaks to him. And she says, "Oh, Georgi, only love of my life, father of my pups, keeper of my heart. I was wrong. Ancestors, forgive me." And she kills him. And she looks at Cawle and she says, my mistake to fix, not yours.
What about the one that's returning?
Do you still want to challenge me on that?
No, Yorgi's dead. That's fine. But what about the one that's returning?
She lets a few
Alice.
teardrops fall on Yorgi. She says, "Let us see what this horrible thing has wrought before we speak on that. Shall we?"
Are you lifting the lid of this coffin?
Someone has to.
Yeah. So within, you see suspended in a kind of pale gold liquid is Lilith. She's in human form, a young woman, resting peacefully. You don't know how, but somehow Yorgi's fiends stealing her bones and bringing them to this device seem to have regenerated her body, and she's just waiting there. And Alice clears her throat, and she says, "Serafina, your howling was helping summon her back, but she was at peace before. I heard her. She was scared. She wasn't asking for this."
No, I suppose she wasn't. But is she here now?
Alice closes her eyes like she's listening to something the rest of you can't hear. And then she says, "Almost. You gained control of yourself and stopped howling. She's hanging on by a thread, but we have to do something. Either pull her here or let her go. We can't leave her in between like this."
Isn't she beautiful? Says Serafina.
But will she be a wolf?
You can
Call. I am. Yeah. Go ahead.
you can smell
Yes.
the scent of lavender, and it's cleaner than it was in her life. Somehow that tells you that this device has resurrected her, but not as a werewolf. As a if she wakes up here, she'll be a human.
Not a werewolf. Not one of the kindred. But alive. Cawle, you were the one that said their lives had merit. Do you still think so?
Cawle looks around at a little bit of the carnage.
The humans, I mean. Not the people who built this place.
Yes, their lives do have merit, but we have lost our gray pelt, and I think Yorgi counts as a death as well. She might be a human, but she can be turned.
Yorgi was no longer of the pack. But yes. But I think before we talk about turning, you should tell me the truth.
You provoking a spell?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Tell me, how you are pushing on Cawle to tell you how it really feels.
Brooke told me. Cawle. They told me the truth. But I need to hear it from you.
I like that this is, perhaps partly a bluff, partly a guess, but that's good enough to provoke spell. Roll plus heart.
$12.
Let's see here.
Is that a 12?
That's a 12.
Okay. On a 10 plus, they have to make the spill move. Go ahead and take a look at your options from the spill move.
And I get to pick the expression, or does he or she?
You pick what you're expressing, but recall that this was a 12, and we're in the last session and the last segment of it. So I don't know.
Go for it.
I'd say go for it.
The truth is the world is turning around us much faster. Our world is growing smaller. Their world is growing larger. And yes, I have picked a mate for myself.
A human.
Not for long.
You would turn her without permission?
I think it depends on you. You once said that change can come when the time is right. Look about you. I think that change...
It can. Are you asking?
No,
or are you
I'm
just telling?
you.
Because if you're telling, I will kill you. And I am not joking. Because you do not stand there before your alpha and say you are going to destroy a tradition simply because it does not suit you to pursue it.
I wasn't going to destroy
that
your
leads
tradition.
to exile. That is our tradition. And until it is changed, it is our tradition cast in the stone of our ancestors' cairn.
Then you shall kill me as I walk away from you, because I will have my own pack. And it won't be this one. And I just start walking towards the exit.
Fascinating.
You will.
I think that might come down to a disobey call.
Yeah. All right.
Right? Resist, turning your back literally on the traditions of the pack.
Yep. Let's see here.
And
That's
this
guts.
one might probably actually does apply to disobeying the pack alpha here.
Yeah. So I get -1 from that and +1 from that, so it's just a straight roll.
And do you have any ties on Serafina?
Oh, I have 3 ties on Serafina.
So those are spendable on this if you
Okay,
so desire.
Okay, and what does a spend do? Does it +1 per spend, or can I spend
Plus
all
1 per
3?
spend. Yeah.
Can I spend all
you can
3?
spend
Can
all
I
3.
spend them? Can I spend them back? Because I have 2 ties on Cawle.
I think what
Or
you
is
I
it
think
only
you would spend those on an answering move if
Okay, fair enough.
if one comes. Yeah.
Okay, so it was a straight roll. Spend those 3. It's a +3. And 10.
Yeah. Good thing you spent those. You disobey and it empowers you to take +1 forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Rena and Amsel like are staring, looking back and forth. And Amsel says, "No, Cawle, not you too." But they are exhausted, right, by everything that has happened. They're just sort of kind of weakly straining towards you, held back by Rena's strong, never all the way turned back from Wolf arm. Serafina, Cawle is disobeying and seems to have the like courage to do it. Right, he's turned his back and is walking away out of the Grimm Keep. The rest of the pack is looking in around in confusion and dismay. Some still looking at Brooke's dead body, others looking at Cawle's retreating back, and Alice says softly, "If it's life you want for her, we should act soon." Serafina, what do you do?
Then act. I'll not spend further time right now on someone who has exiled himself.
And Alice begins to howl, trying to find that mystical note you were striking, Serafina.
Howl with me, everyone. Let us bring her home. She may have not wanted this journey, but we owe it to her to bring her the rest of the way.
I think you do it. Yeah, I think the other packmates kind of hesitantly join in this howling, and the music of the wolves fills the Grimm Keep, and you see, in this metal coffin, Lilith's eyes flicker open. Cawle, outside the keep, you spot the humans advancing forward, right? They've gotten into this work song / prayer to buoy their spirits. They have their torches and pitchforks and bows and arrows. Perhaps even one crossbow that they pulled down from over the mantle of the inn. The like hunter in the lead is saying, "Whatever monsters lurk within this keep, they will trouble our village no more. People of Ramsgate, tonight, today, we make ourselves safe." Cawle, you haven't spotted you, but you have the ability to join with them, or to sneak away. What do you do?
I think the last thing Cawle is going to do is he will. I'm sure we have different kinds of howls, a warning howl, something like that. That's the last thing I'll give to my old pack is a quick warning howl, and then he dashes off into the woods towards where he thinks he can find Claire, or tries to pick up a scent.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, cool. A warning howl. You know, the last thing the pack hears from Cawle, just telling them there is danger outside. Absolutely. With that, I might move us towards epilogues. How does that sound? Brooke, what do we see in an epilogue that gives us a sense of Brooke's influence on any of these werewolves or their packs, plural?
I mean, I guess something I'd actually like to ask to turn over to the other players before answering that, because I feel like what actually happens to the other members of the wolf pack, like who, like is it that like Cawle basically exiles just himself, or does anyone go with him?
At the moment, I had the whole the rest of the pack staying, right, because
Okay.
Cawle just disobeyed. He didn't make a challenge.
Okay, just checking.
But if we wanted to have that situation change during epilogues, I'm happy to hear proposals, right? Like, because at this point we're extrapolating and kind of thinking like what kind of hints of these characters' future we want to end on.
Cool. Yeah, I guess like just looking at names here. One sec. Yeah, looking at names here, I think that I like the idea that maybe we see the pack taking Brooke's body back to the cairn, and it kind of, I think Brooke's put a lot of strain on their body, and I think it almost shows as they bring the body to it, because I think that their flesh starts to like smolder and rot at this quickened pace, and like by the time it's laid in the ground, there are only bones left of Brooke.
I love that. I mean, it's very thematic because, of course, bones were taken from this cairn and then kind of unnaturally restored to life, and now instead Brooke's body is brought and has supernaturally quickly become merely bones before they are placed with the ancestors. Serafina, what do we see as an epilogue hinting at what Serafina and her pack are up to?
So there are a number of things. Lilith is brought into the pack, of course.
After Lilith.
After a little heart-to-heart with Alice, Serafina uses her prerogative with Alice's support to announce that one of the traditions is changing, which is that that a human can be given a special status of knowing on
the secret keepers.
by the secret keepers, but it must be proposed and agreed to by the pack in open discussion.
I'm sure that Alice puts forward Lyra, the herbalist, and gets the pack on board with this.
And that's the reason, and that's the major reason why Serafina's now, she's not just, as it were, throwing a bone to Alice, pun semi-intended.
Yeah.
But
I don't know that Alice ever comes clean about the fact she told Lyra about the pack before.
No, but Rena does.
Yeah,
Rena sooner or later can't keep that secret, and so Serafina never makes Alice admit that Alice did this deliberately and with malice aforethought, but she leaves the tacit understanding that she knows. But she also esteems Alice. She also praises Alice before the ancestors, and at the next howling, for Alice's strength and pulling together when the chips were down.
Absolutely.
She she weeps over Brooke's bones when they are interred in the cairn, and tells stories of how Brooke taught her when she was a pup about how to crack bones for marrow and things like that. And asks Brooke to watch over the pack from this point forward and guide them during difficult times.
Amsel listens intently and with an unreadable expression on their face as you tell stories of Brooke.
And for her willingness in making way so that new youth and life could come to the pack. She never forgives Cawle, but neither does she. But neither does she say that he's to be hunted down. She's just, if anybody ever brings that name up, she looks at them with a look of such kind of anger and sorrow mixed that they quickly change the subject.
And speaking of Cawle.
All right, so I don't have a happy ending in store for Cawle. What I'm saying is, while they're running away from the hunters and stuff like that, he tracks down Claire, and he comes to her joyously. He's like, "We're free, we can go," and but she's so focused on doing the this sorcery to protect her village, and I'm trying to convince her that we can see the rest of the world. We can leave, but she just won't let it go. And I just see an argument starting to ensue, and then Cawle starting to break from, because yelling something like, "Do you know what I lost, what I threw away to be with you? How can you choose these people? Come with me at one last time." And then she again refuses, and then he ends up basically like losing control, going into like half werewolf mode or whatever, and ends up slashing her throat out. and she lies bleeding and dies. And then the final scene would be Cawle leaving the territory of these wolves in wolf form, but as he gets to the edge, he goes from wolf form back to human form. And then I'm kind of seeing the music from like the Incredible Hulk playing, the old TV show, Bruce Banner, the Wandering thing, and he walks out of the wolf's territory in human form, and his back straight and everything like that, and he's looking up for things. He still has an air of sadness about him, especially losing control and killing the person he thought, who he loved, but she wouldn't, take the next step. And
may I add
just,
one thing to this? This as this lonely piano music is playing. I think Claire's body. We see Claire's body, and her hand unfolds, and a little spider just like steps off of her palm and starts making its way along the ground, in the direction that Cawle went. And we'll leave that there. This has been Mark's Innistrad Howlpack. Thank you all for playing and for being part of it. And for anyone who's watched along, thank you for checking this out. Definitely go check out Bite Marks. It's a super cool game created by Becky Anison, put out by Black Armada. There's a link below this video if you're watching the YouTube video. But otherwise, see you on a new stream when Cloven Pine Games returns, and perhaps when Magical Multiverse Tour returns, taking us to another place in the Magic Multiverse. All right. Stay safe out there, everybody.